What's happening? This is going to be the last video for tonight. This is for Idea Man 99. So he asks, what's your thoughts on excessive repetitive motion? Workout versus a job? For example, block layer lifting blocks for 8 to 10 hours versus workouts of 500 to 1,000 reps per week. Well, my first thought is this is really common sense, right? When you're doing a workout that you plan, you typically don't say, I'm going to do this one thing for 10 hours a day and then everything else for 5 minutes. You don't even have to have an exercise degree or you probably don't even need to know anything about exercise to say, sounds kind of unbalanced, might be a problem. But it brings up some interesting issues. A lot of people feel like since they lift heavy things during the day, all day, that they don't need to work out. And as somebody who has worked on an oil rig, on an oil drilling rig, and those of you who have done that know that those pipes are very heavy, several thousand pounds when they're swinging out of the derricks. And the lock jaws weigh, I don't even know how much they weigh, like 1,200 pounds or something, maybe more. So on and so forth. You're surrounded by big, huge, heavy objects. You're lifting like, 50-pound bags of ground marble and throwing them into the, I don't remember what the hell we called that, giant blender thing that ends up making your mud mix. Okay, all of these things that you do require a lot of strength. And I was really the only person on the rig that worked out regularly, except maybe for the Samoan guy who pulled the chocks out around the hole when the pipe was going down. He was just a beast, but I think that that's just how he was. I mean, he didn't really go to the gym much. He was just phenomenally strong, which is something that, if you've had experience with like a prototypical Samoan, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Those people are beasts. Beasts. They're actually documented as being the naturally like the largest people in the world, and they think it was some kind of an adaptation to extensive ocean traveling. Although how that got determined, I'm not really sure. Something I read on the internet, so take that for about as much worth as the nutritional value of these Rice Krispies. Still, it's an interesting thought. So when you work, you're typically tired at the end of work. You don't want to work out. During your workout, you typically shouldn't be dead at the end of your workout. You should feel like you did something, but you should still feel like you have energy for the rest of the day. So for a lot of things, mindset's going to be very different from job versus workout. As far as repetitive motion goes, the crappy thing about doing something for 8 to 10 hours a day is that your form's going to change, right? And that's one of the really important things to know, is that when you do an exercise, people typically are constantly in bodybuilder mode, and they think, feel the pump! Feel the pump! You gotta feel your titties working! Right? And that's important, that's cool. It's not gonna help you lifting blocks, but it's good on bench press, right? The problem there is that there are a lot of different things you can do to make your chest work and to feel it. Many of those things, like rolling your shoulders forward, will also predispose you to shoulder impingement and start tearing you apart. And that's the kind of thing that we tend to see in, overuse environment. It's not so much that there's overuse as it's over misuse, right? So if you were able to lift for like 10 hours with absolutely perfect form every single time, chances are very good that you probably wouldn't run into problems. We are made for repetitive light lifting. It's why we're such good runners and walkers. Obviously hip construction and the bipedal gait and things like that are very important too, but that's a separate issue. Our joints are designed to withstand impacts over and over and over again, which is why they have such large surface areas relative to the width of the bone on the long axis. So when we have these, and especially relative to our body weights, they're clearly designed for explosive impacts. So doing things over and over and over again, you get tired, you wear things out, and like energetically, right? You get tired and you start doing things differently. You're not able to keep quite the straight back, or you get lazy mentally and you're just not paying attention. Whereas in the workout, you're like, I'm in workout mode, so I'm doing things a specific way for a specific reason, right? That's a lot healthier. And so what your workouts do is, A, they rejuvenate your body from all of the damage that's been done, they send signals saying, wait, let's reinforce good patterns so that the breakdown that happens every day doesn't slowly degrade, right, into just all-around poor movement. We're able to keep it at a very high level, right, where the degradation stays within this range instead of this range, where you can actually start causing real problems, okay? So I would say that that's really the big difference. It's in focus, it's in the way that you end up moving over time. So if you lifted 1,000 blocks over, like if you did 50 blocks in the morning and 50 blocks at night for 5 days in a row, right, and you lift 500 blocks, your form could probably be perfect every time. Wouldn't be perfect if you lifted 500 blocks in one day, in one session. And that's really the difference. You're talking about completely different adaptations. You're talking about maintaining a specific motor pattern instead of getting tired and doing whatever gets the job done that day. That whole just what gets the job done tends to be what causes people to have occupational injuries down the line. And the workouts allow us to sort of stall out that process so that you don't build those injuries so fast, or if you're really working out properly and with a good purpose and paying attention, and you've been taught properly to pay attention, right, which is key, then you can avoid those injuries. All right, so I wasn't paying attention. The memory card got full real quick. Fix that. So that's the end of this video. Really appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch. Give me some more questions. I'll get you some more answers. All right? Peace out. Have a good night. Train hard. And remember, if you work and have long repetitive hours of doing manual labor, even if it's just pushing a button, right, on a press or something, please get yourself a balanced workout put together. We're going to eventually, as we get moving on, we're going to teach you how to sort of identify what you may need to do for those workouts. But for now, see an occupational therapist or a competent physical trainer. Make sure that you tell them what you do for work and show them the things that you repeat the most, and say, I would really like to do something in the gym that is going to counterbalance this so that I don't wear my joints out. You just say it like that, they're going to teach you what to do. A physical therapist could also help you. You can pay one time. It'll only cost you what it costs for, a good personal trainer, 50 or 60 bucks or whatever, 70 bucks, chiropractor, whatever. And most of them will be able to give you some pretty good ideas on what you can do on your own. That's a very, very good suggestion, I think, that a lot of people just don't think about because it's really not on the radar. Well, that's it. As usual, subscribe if you really like the videos, and stick with us. Got a lot of good things coming. Thank you very much.